Dara and Grace, the shore that remembered. The sun was setting when Dara and Grace arrived at the beach. The sky burned orange above the dark water, and the waves rolled gently toward the shore. It should have been beautiful, but Grace noticed something strange. A girl was standing far out near the water. She wore an old, pale dress, and her long hair completely covered her face. "Dara," Grace whispered. "Who is that?" Dara turned. The girl was gone. They laughed nervously and decided to stay until sunset. As darkness fell, Dara found an old photograph half buried in the sand. It showed the exact same beach, except in the photograph a young couple stood where Dara and Grace had been standing. On the back were 4 words, "She always comes back." Suddenly, Grace heard someone whisper her name. "Grace." She turned around. Nobody was there. Then Dara heard it too. "Dara!" The voice was coming from the ocean. They began walking away, but the waves suddenly stopped. Completely. The entire sea became silent. Then the girl appeared again. This time she was standing only a few meters away. Her face remained hidden beneath her hair. Grace grabbed Dara's hand. The girl slowly raised one finger and pointed toward the cliffs. There, carved into the rock, were hundreds of names. And at the very bottom were 2 names that looked freshly written. Dara, Grace. Grace stared in horror. "We've never been here before." The girl finally spoke. "You have." Dara froze. The girl lifted her head slightly. "Every time you remember each other, you come back." The beach suddenly changed. For a moment, Dara and Grace saw flashes of themselves standing on the same shore years earlier, then years before that, and again, and again. They realized the terrifying truth. They weren't visiting the beach for the first time. They had been coming back to it for generations. And every time they found each other, the girl in the white dress appeared. The tide suddenly rushed toward them. Dara pulled Grace away, but when they looked back, the girl had vanished. Only a message remained in the wet sand. Some loves never die. The next morning, Dara and Grace were gone. Nobody knew where they had disappeared to. But weeks later, a fisherman found an old photograph washed onto the beach. It showed Dara and Grace standing together beneath the sunset. Behind them stood the girl in the white dress. And beneath the photograph was a date. 1897. The fisherman turned the photograph over. On the back, new writing slowly appeared in the damp sand. "They'll be back at sunset." And somewhere beyond the cliffs, a girl began whispering their names.